Once more on the search for progress. This should be interesting, but again, the little marker saying where we need to go is more than a little useless when we need to find something else to be able to reach that spot first. So that was a secret I needed to use online help to find. Part of me wants to groan that I couldn't find that out on myself. The other, once again, feels that the game designers do too good a job of making it tough to figure out where to go next. Anyway, now that the green doors are open, it's finally time to get to the point that the map keeps telling us to go to. Oh, hell. It didn't take the X long to get in here once the doors were unlocked. Literally the instant we leave the security room. Though sadly enough, this doesn't feel like an oh shit moment to me, since oddly enough, I feel more comfortable with enemies all over the place. Is there a word for being more comfortable when there's visible danger around instead of just waiting for it? Because it's not that I'm cocky. I want nothing to do with the SAX anytime soon. All the other X, well, just let them come. It's not like we need to worry about ammo. Okay, I don't think I'll ever get used to healing items turning into completely different enemies if you don't grab them fast enough. Right, of course bombs and missiles aren't gonna let us through those things. I don't think any of the similar barriers in the other games were taken out that easily either. So, time to start looking for an alternate way around. Okay, nice to know we can roll right under those snakehead things. And mildly annoying that the enemies I predicted being in this room are flyers, so me spraying shots meant nothing. Okay, what makes them decide to use their green fireball or just extend their head? Both attacks seem to have the same range. And now I can't help feeling a little unnerved that the X can replicate creatures with jet boots of some kind. Just what we need, a race that shares a lot of similarities with the Flood from Halo that can create inorganic materials as needed. Just how long would it take for them to create on their own a hyperspace-capable Leviathan the moment they figure out it's possible to create something like that? It'd be easier to say if that thought is pure paranoia, or actually possible if we knew if the X have a hive mind or not. Okay, so the super missile doesn't take its own individual slot. It just soups up the regular missiles, which now makes me worried about us fighting creatures capable of taking over a dozen super missiles to the face. Right, of course that door was destroyed as soon as we got the upgrade we came for. And we've got some unknown threat that's apparently heavy enough to shake the screen even when we can't see it. Good thing there's a save here to help prep us for the very likely boss fight coming up. Kind of wish missile upgrades felt more meaningful now that we know the regular missiles have been completely replaced with the super missiles. But then, I have the distinct feeling that the super missiles we have just don't have the same bite as the super missiles that the SAX has to play with. At the very least, there's little to no threat of us destroying sections of the terrain whenever we send those things out. Or at least not destroying it in a way that feels permanent. Okay, that is an outright mech. How the hell did a biological-style assimilation species manage to get a goddamn spider mech? Okay, we've been hitting it a lot, but I don't see any damage happening. So the damage has to come to an absurdly specific angle in a game that doesn't give us a full 360-degree method of aiming. And that angle can be blocked by absolutely anything. Whereas all of its attacks are rather generous with their hitboxes. Who the hell ordered the number 5 from the bullshit menu? And why was it on board a research ship like this? It's not like we've seen any sign of Federation Marines of one kind or another. The only human corpses we've come across were scientists and other support staff, as far as I could tell. Well, at least it looks like we're wearing it down, because with the lack of accuracy I've been showing, I'm pretty sure there's a risk we could actually run out of ammo before it runs out of health. And I don't like our chances of using the charge beam like this against something that can take multiple super missile shots. Just how much more abuse can that thing take? Please tell me it's done. Well, at least we didn't have to worry about getting killed by the debris as it leaped up. That's a small mercy. And I'm pretty sure it'd be a good idea to fall back and heal instead of giving chase. At the very least, I'd like to have more than just 3 missiles in case we need to destroy a floating orb that tries to ram us after we killed the boss robot. And have I mentioned that us fighting against a robot, even one that has biological components, is a bit unnerving considering the kind of enemy we're fighting? Granted, they took over our Chozo suit at the start of the game, but that was a hyper-advanced alien hardware thing. I somehow doubt that the robot we just fought was anywhere near as advanced. But then maybe it's just another of those things I'm not supposed to think all that much about. It can be more than a little difficult for me to tell sometimes. Right, so we apparently need the screw attack to go to the right, and I'm pretty sure we're gonna have to wait quite a while before we get to that. Okay. Tempted to just go through the door, but I distinctly recall seeing something in the ceiling opening as I was shooting up there. Right, screw attack on one side. And speed blocks to the left. Guess we're not getting anything above, but it was worth checking. There's no way I'm taking that next hopper without getting hurt. And apparently I'm wrong. Huh. Sure, the boss was a pain, but I somehow remembered the standard enemies across the game being more dangerous than they are. But again, maybe it's just the fact that we went through the rather difficult 3DS Metroid 2 that spoiled me for challenging fights or something along those lines. Maybe I should have done these games in order of release, not chronological order. But then a good amount of the challenge isn't actually the fights, though that's more likely to enrage me like the Mother Brain fight from Zero Mission and the Queen Metroid from the 3DS game. It's about finding our way through these convoluted maps, and some games make the maps more convoluted and unintuitive than others. Well, at least we're going to be able to report to our AI buddy soon. Can't say I'm looking forward to it though, sure. He's the first character who's technically spoken to Samus in these games that we've gone through so far, but it's not like there's any real character interaction here. He speaks to the unresponsive wall that is our main character, then maybe we get a bit of Samus having an internal dialogue about the AI that she's internally dubbed Adam. It's hard to call it character interaction if there's less than two sides to a conversation. Okay, got no clue why I ran back this way. Why am I not interacting with the nav computer right now? If I'm trying to do a speed boost jump, it's a bad idea since I don't think we've jumped to anything we haven't been able to reach before. Yeah, definitely a waste of time there. Oh, for God's sakes, what do you do when you want to slap your past self here? That literally did not lead us anywhere. We couldn't have gone without the speed boost. Okay, at least it looks like there's a significant area beneath us that's now unlocked. May as well explore there since I've been faffing around here for a bit. Okay, no clue what those things are, and it doesn't look like there's anything other than these things in here. At least we've got a missile upgrade in here. Considering how close we came to running out of ammo in the last boss fight, that's certainly appreciated. And, of course, the other hallway is completely impassable because we're not fireproof yet. Right, back to the nav room for our overdue line of text telling us what's going on next. Adam telling us what we need to do in an extended manner probably wouldn't be so annoying if it wasn't for the fact that we've gone through 4 other games with similar formulas that didn't have long, one-sided conversations. It's not the fact that there's more text to read in the game, just the execution, and I'm hoping the execution is going to be better when I finally get to Metroid Dread and the Metroid Prime games. Definitely nothing left for us to do here at the moment, and it's pretty obvious we're gonna come back later. As much as I like the fact that it's less likely for us to get lost in this game compared to Super Metroid, the way it was pulled off, well, I wouldn't outright call it babying. It just doesn't feel like it gives the player enough credit. Especially odd, since I'm pretty sure most of the Resident Evil games I've played never really gave me that feeling, even though most, if not all of them, were about as linear as Metroid Fusion. But then it's not like I've done commentary on any of those games just yet. Again, not much of a recharge, but considering how little we get from killing X's around here, there's no reason not to. And finally I get around to telling our AI custodian that we've gotten the super missiles. That's what we're calling that thing? I'm not even sure why I was expecting a more interesting name for it, and I could have sworn we already destroyed it there. It doesn't really seem like the kind of boss that's worth having a rematch against. Well, considering they nearly killed Samus in Solar Suit, you should have anticipated that they'd be absurdly scary to deal with. Seriously, name me one kind of virus, fantasy or otherwise, that doesn't find ways to spread a lot further than people think they can contain. Can't help feeling it would have been better if they did something to prep us for cold temperatures in this thing right from the start. Granted, temperature doesn't work the same way in space as it would in an atmosphere, but considering we already lost a ship, I want the ability to eject without freezing or burning in case we lose another in this same adventure. Well, it took you long enough to figure out the X's destruction has been more planned out than dumb animals can pull off. Okay, Sector 6 it is. We aren't gonna need some kind of night visor upgrade around here, are we? Considering how my imagination goes and some of the monsters I've seen in various media, from the Zerg in StarCraft to the Flood in Halo, part of me can't help thinking I might be overestimating the X. Again, we don't know if they have an outright hive mind or some other means of communicating with each other. Right, speak of Resident Evil and we get some shady stuff going on. Part of me wants to feel a little worried that the Federation, after sending Samus here to clean up the place, is trying to keep some secrets while still expecting us to deal with the monsters that they explicitly have no means of dealing with themselves and that are spreading all over. So maybe it's just a case of the guys in charge of this operation consider that someone who's supposed to be a mercenary is essentially just an asset that outright belongs to the Federation. Especially considering how many jobs for the Federation Samus has done. Somehow, doesn't really feel like Nintendo's style, but then Metroid does a lot of things that most other Nintendo franchises don't do, like the comic bit of Ridley explicitly eating Samus's parents right in front of her. I thought the X had the Viera suit. Why not name the more organic armor something different, even if it essentially functions the same? Of course there is. Okay, that's certainly unpleasant. Holy shit. Even as paranoid as I am when facing space monsters capable of assimilating various creatures, I honestly didn't see that one coming. I suppose in some ways it's similar to the Zerg coming up with kamikaze units, but this was absolutely tailored to deal with Samus, an individual person. I somehow doubt that would be especially effective against a whole squad of other people or creatures the X might run into. And of course, this sector stateroom is an obscene distance from the nav room, because we don't have to unlock any doors on the way to point B. Oh, I'm sure they were hunting us actively from the moment we landed. They're just refining their techniques at this point.